Sam was born into a crumbling country, the kind that eats dreams and spits out silence. The streets were gray, cracked by frost and poverty, and lined with weary faces that had long stopped expecting change. From a young age, he learned that to survive meant to obey, to endure, to disappear. The future wasn't promised, only tolerated. He watched his mother age too quickly and his father vanish into the folds of a corrupted system, never to return. His childhood wasn't filled with toys or songs, only the mechanical ticking of a broken clock and the metallic echo of disappointment. By 16, Sam had already stopped believing in help. He worked in a local factory, packing metal parts into crates for 12 hours a day. His hands became rough, his back stiff, his spirit quieter with every shift. He kept his head down. He saved what little he earned. But he knew deep down, he would rot here if he didn't leave. At 17, he began plotting his escape. He studied migration forums late into the night, reading stories of people who fled and built new lives. Most failed. A few succeeded. He focused on those. With forged documents, hidden cash, and no farewell, he crossed the border into a neighboring country, walking through damp forests, avoiding checkpoints, and holding his breath with every movement. He wasn't running from danger. He was running toward the chance to live. In this new country, nothing was easy. He didn't speak the language. He had no contacts. He slept on the floor of a storage shed offered by a half-sympathetic old man in exchange for cleaning gutters and hauling trash. He ate once a day. He kept a journal, not for thoughts, but for words, nouns, verbs, useful expressions. Every evening he whispered them aloud, as if by repeating them, he could rebuild himself. The first job was on a construction site. No ID required, just hands and silence. Sam didn't complain. He lifted, dug, hammered. His body ached, but his resolve didn't. He saved every euro. He studied coding tutorials on his phone while sitting on a bucket during lunch breaks. Sometimes, the other workers laughed. They thought he was wasting time. But Sam had no intention of staying on scaffolds forever. After 6 months, he moved into a tiny room of his own. A mattress, a desk, one window. It felt like a palace. He bought a second-hand laptop and dove deep into web development. Nights became code. Days became labor. He took online tests, built practice websites, and applied to every freelance job he could find. Rejections poured in. Dozens. Hundreds. But one day, a man from Canada offered him a simple job, fixing a broken button on an e-commerce page. Sam did it in 2 hours. He earned $30. It was the smallest sum he'd ever felt proud of. It proved something vital. He could be paid for his brain, not his hands. From there, it grew. Slowly, steadily, he built a profile, collected reviews, improved his English, learned to pitch himself. He worked 7 days a week. No vacations, no rest. But he was building something no one could take away. By the time he turned 22, he was making more than a doctor back home. He rented a better apartment. He bought new clothes. He even allowed himself a chair that didn't hurt his back. And yet, he never forgot. Not the cold nights in the forest. Not the hunger. Not the nights he cried into a pillow to silence the loneliness. But money wasn't a cure. With comfort came silence. He had no friends, no family nearby. Social gatherings made him anxious. Conversations felt distant. He was surrounded by peace but haunted by absence. His life was better, but he wasn't happy. Not really. One day, he opened a message from a boy in his home country. "I want to be like you," it said. Sam stared at it for a long time. It was the first time he realized someone looked up to him. He replied, offering advice, tips, even a copy of one of his personal project files. That small exchange opened something inside him. Sam decided to create a course in his native language. Programming for beginners. No fancy words. He didn't expect much. But people came. Hundreds. Then thousands. Students from forgotten villages, war-torn suburbs, and broken towns. They called him brother, teacher, savior. He didn't feel like any of those things. But he answered every question, recorded lessons late into the night, and guided people step by step. It gave his life meaning. Something deeper than money. Every time someone sent a message, "I got my first freelance job," or "I bought a laptop with my own money," He felt something warm in his chest that he had once thought was lost forever. He continued working, but now with balance. He took long walks in the early morning. He traveled to quiet towns. He started writing short essays, reflections, stories. He even adopted a stray cat that wouldn't leave his doorstep. He named her Pixel. At 26, Sam was stable. He wasn't rich, but he was free. He earned a consistent income, owned everything he used, and owed nothing to anyone. He paid for his mother's medical bills back home. He supported his cousin through school. He donated quietly to shelters. He didn't seek applause. He had had enough noise in his past. Sometimes, he would look out his window and remember the boy who ran. The boy who had nothing, just a cracked phone and an idea. That boy still lived in him. But now he was standing. Someday, maybe he would return to the town of his childhood. Maybe he'd buy land, plant trees, and watch them grow taller than the fear that once filled his lungs. Until then, he would keep going. Because Sam didn't just escape. He built something better, and he never looked back.